Hello everyone, this is Frank DiMora, the head of the End Times Research Ministry, and this is the cover of my prophecy book called The Last Chronicles of Planet Earth. And if you'd like to get this documentary on Bible prophecy and current events, just go to the address you see on the screen, endtimesresearchministry.com. You can download that book today for free. Now, all the information that you're going to be seeing in this video today, I've placed it in my book. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of articles and videos talking about the mass die-offs of the birds, the fish, and the animals, just like the Lord had prophesied. Now, if you don't know much about the prophecy warning about the birds, the fish, and the animals, I suggest you pick up a Bible and read, for example, Hosea chapter 4, verse 3, where you'll see that he talks about the beasts of the field, the fowls of heaven, and the fishes of the sea, how they're going to be dying off. You'll see the same thing in Zephaniah in the Old Testament, chapter 1, verses 2 and 3. And then in the book of Revelation, Jesus shows us what's going to happen to the people who destroy the earth. And by destroying the earth, you see contaminations in many places around this planet that we're living on, and as a result, the contamination, the debris, the junk, the waste is killing off the birds, the fish, and the animals. And this goes hand in hand with these prophecies from Hosea and Zephaniah. So what I'm going to do now is pick up from where I left off of June 27th of 2017. There were other articles that came in on that same day that I'll be picking up on the 27th of June. Let's review the documentation together. Thursday, June 29th, 2017.
Back here in the Ministry for Primary Industries, cull of Strait Island flake oysters in a bid to stop the spread of a parasite is expected to finish today. By the end of the day, around 80 tonnes of material will have been culled from Big Glory Bay after the Bonamia osprey outbreak was detected 2 weeks ago. MPI plans to remove hatchery equipment next week. It's hoped the cull will stop the potentially fatal parasite reaching Fovo Strait oysters.
picture-perfect day along the Lake Erie shoreline until something frightful began surfacing from the deep Wednesday.
We were all just sitting here like, what the heck is happening? What is this? What's going on?
Northeasterly winds pushed the rolling waves westward, right into Sheffield Lake.
It looked like there were whitecaps, but they were a bunch of dead fish.
A lot of dead fish.
Turning the boat launch and beach into a watery grave.
There were just piles of dead fish everywhere, and guys were burying them.
Pretty disgusting.
All of them sheep's head, also known as freshwater drumfish.
If you look out past that pier, there's one out there. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them right now.
Mayor Dennis Bring was immediately concerned and began contacting both the EPA and ODNR.
This is obviously our drinking water. We want to make sure it's safe.
The Ohio Department of Natural Resources is keeping an eye on the situation, but says at this point it does not appear to be linked to either the nearby power plant or any sort of disease, because they say if that was the case, multiple species would be washing ashore.
Now they're saying that it might be because of spawning, and they said because of the water temperature and everything else is late spawning season.
They say last season's snow and chilly temperatures stressed out the fish, causing them to die. It's actually happened before, but back in 2006, a so-called natural die-off occurred.
They told me there was a dead zone in the lake as far as lack of oxygen, and that happened also.
ODNR says the water remained safe back then and is safe now, despite the unsightly fish, which should end within a week or so.
It's rare and certainly tough to see. Last Thursday, we told you about this 10-foot pilot whale found stranded on the coast in Taylor County.
And now we're learning it wasn't the only one. Researchers are trying to figure out why this is happening. Erica Fernandez is in our studio with more on that. Erica?
Ben, Julie, researchers are starting to think that there may be something wrong with the species. Now, these animals, they travel in groups, and if their leader is sick, there's a good possibility the pack is just following behind. Now, over a 4-day period, rescue teams and FWC responded to 10 different whale strandings in Taylor and Dixie counties. And of those 10, only one was saved. The mammal found washed ashore in Hagen's Cove last week in shock for hours before vets deemed it too sick to save, and it was euthanized. 8 others also found last weekend, but none surviving. Researchers now looking into what's causing the whales to beach themselves and if and how they can be treated.
United States, August 17th, 2017.
So bad it makes you gag. Thousands of dead fish are washing up along the shores of Tampa Bay. And Peter Bernard is on the night before us in Clearwater. What's going on, Peter?
Jen, an algae bloom is responsible for this fish kill. We're standing out here, and I can tell you it is really smelly. These fish are rotting in the hot sun, making it very difficult even to be outside.
You say there's thousands. I don't know that that's impossible.
Out behind Mark Prince's home in Safety Harbor.
Here's another big redfish back in here. I guess that's a redfish.
Dead fish are decaying in the mangroves. Redfish, drumfish, mullet. Some are giants. It's all happening in the waters of Old Tampa Bay on the Pinellas side. The smell can knock you out.
It's pretty gamey. I'm afraid it's going to get a lot worse.
Buzzards are enjoying a fish feast But Mark's daughter doesn't like the stench wafting through the air.
I've lived here for 24 years and haven't seen anything like this, and who knows, but I hope somebody gets to the bottom of it.
Florida Fish and Wildlife have reports of dead fish in Felipe Park, Allen's Creek, and at the Bayside and 580 bridges. The agency blames low dissolved oxygen in the water. We saw these on the north side of the Bayside Bridge. Stingrays seem to be a common sight. At the nearby Grand Bellagio condos, Evie Hammond suspects runoff from a construction project is to blame. And the smell?
It's worse than when I had to change it. It's bad. Yeah, you can't even breathe out here.
Evie snapped these pictures of dead fish at the complex. It's a smorgasbord for nature's scavengers, a serious concern for people worried about the environment.
47 dolphins, 51 endangered sea turtles have died this year off the Gulf Coast. And now scientists are trying to figure out if they're the latest victims of the massive dead zone in the Gulf.
And those scientists are sounding the alarm that swift environmental changes are affecting all life in the ecosystem. Meg Ferris reports.
We started our day about 5:30, right?
Lifelong Gulf Coast fisherman Reggie Walker said it's getting harder to make a living.
It's just getting real bad right here right now. It's not nothing like it used to be back years ago.
He doesn't need to see news reports about the largest dead zone in Gulf history, the size of New Jersey. He sees the effects firsthand.
A lot of the fish are not as healthy as they used to be and stuff like that. The shrimping, it was real good, but it's depleting pretty much every year. The season gets later and you catch smaller shrimp and stuff like that.
We are now seeing more jubilees, which are animals gasping for air and dying.
Biologists at the Institute for Marine Mammal Studies in Gulfport are studying the cause of death of 4 dozen dolphins and even more sea turtles. He warns they are the canaries in the mine.
These animals are top of the food chain and are a good indicator of the environment. And I can tell you there is something that is not looking very good.
The large amount of rain is causing the Mississippi Sound to go from brackish to fresh water, and all the agricultural, industrial, and sewage runoff from many states and rivers drain through the mouth of the Mississippi, creating the dead zones off the coast.
Just a few years ago, we had a catastrophic decline in oyster fishery. The blue crabs live on the oyster reefs. We lost the blue crab, so it's a domino effect.
Conditions can improve when it's drier in the winter, but he says policymakers need to listen to the science and start using spillways and levees to slow down the release of fresh water. From Gulfport, Meg Ferris, Eyewitness News.
The scientists also warn that some marine life, like oysters, can't move to other waters when the salt levels change, and they are unable to adapt when the change happens so fast.